Okay, we're here. I'm back again, Mr. Travis, and we are going to now graph another parabola. Okay, so let's look at this one this time. What do we have? We're going to graph y equals 4 times the quantity x plus 2 squared minus 3. So again, it's in already in proper format, so it's really easy to see the vertex. And so the vertex in this case is -2, -3. Remember that it's the opposite of what's on the inside of x. So if it's +2, then it's the opposite of that, and then it's just the number -3. So let's go ahead and plot it. We have -2, -3. So I've plotted the vertex here. And is the parabola moving up or down? Is it going up or down? Well, because this 4 is positive, we know it's going up. So parabola up. Okay? So I usually just put a little markers on it to tell myself that it's going up. So unlike the previous example, this one will have x and y intercepts that we have to find. X and y intercept that we have to find. So let's start with the y-intercepts because that's always easy. So to find the y-intercept, we set x equal to 0. Okay? So we have 0 equals, oops, sorry, mistake. Try again. Okay, so we set we set x equal to 0. 0 plus 2 squared minus 3. Okay? So let's solve this. We have y equals 0 plus 2, so that's 2 squared is 4. 4 times 4 is 16, minus 3 equals 13. So the y-intercept is 13. Okay? So that means at 0, 13, it's actually going to hit the graph. Now, if you look at my graph, kind of messed up. It's too small. So just estimate. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 up. So I'm just going to estimate up here. I'm just going to put it way up here and call this 13. All right. Now, the other point is there's a second point that we can use here. And that point is actually over the symmetric partner. And so I'm going to actually erase this a little bit. I'm going to put this here, y equals 13. Okay? And the symmetric partner is going to be, because remember this is symmetric, the parabola is symmetric. I'm going to draw a dotted line to show you. It's symmetric along this line, the parabola. So that means if I have 0, 13 as a point, I also have -4, 13 as a second point. So I'm plotting that one here. Okay? That one is also a second point. So I can go ahead and plot those 2 points, and now I just need the x-intercepts to finish this one up. It's going to be a very narrow graph. Why is the parabola so steep on this one, so narrow? What has to do with the 4? Hold on 1 second, pausing. Okay, back to recording. Okay, yep. So now I'm going to find the x-intercept, which will complete this. So the x-intercept is found by finding what y equals 0, at y equals 0. So I'm going to go back to the graph, and I'm going to plug in y equals 0. So I have 0 equals 4, x plus 2 squared minus 3. Now what I need to do is I need to solve for x. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides to start. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So I have 3 equals 4, x plus 2 squared. Divide both sides by 4. Okay, so lots of interruptions, but I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4, which will get me to the point of x plus 2 squared equals 3/4. All right, again, I'm trying to get to x by itself to find out what the x-intercept is. All right, so now we're going to take the square root of both sides. Remember, when you take the square root of an x squared, you get 2 answers. You got to make sure you write those. So we have plus or minus 3/4. And so what I get here is I get x plus 2 equals the square root plus or minus the square root of 3/4. All right, and then I can complete this step by subtracting 2 from both sides. So I get x equals -2 plus or minus the square root of 3/4. All right, so I just have to figure out what those values are, and I'm only going to be able to estimate those values. Well, 3/4, and if you look at it on the calculator, is about 0.866. So what we have here is, and let me write it over here, we have x equals -2 plus square root of 3/4, and x equals -2 minus the square root of 3/4. So when you approximate these, what you're going to get is -2 plus 0.866 is going to give you a -1.14, and -2 minus 0.866 is going to give you a -2.866 or 67. And so now I can just estimate these on my graph. So I have -1.14 is about right here, and then -2.86 is about right here. Okay, and so now you've got all the 5 points that you required, and now go ahead and draw it. Now, because this is so narrow, it's going to be hard to get it to curve, but just do the best you can. Okay, and there you go. Now you've got the graph of the parabola with the 5 required points, which is the vertex, the X intercept, the Y intercept, and its Y symmetric partner. Okay, I hope that helps.